Not again. These damn coon people. Freaking Stina left her snacks out. Shoot. Get here. Go.
This is what happens when COVID's over.
Right?
And you leave snacks around.
Freaking COVID. These damn coon people are infesting this place, man. When is Stina gonna get here?
We have to await the dawn for that.
Oh, you're right.
What's up, people, and welcome to Splatter Garage Movie Massacre, a podcast that celebrates the best and the worst titles in horror, action, cult, and B-level cinema. That's right, it's the underground movie podcast with an insatiable taste for blood, if you will.
Like the coon people.
Like the
outside.
coon people. Now, yeah.
They have a taste for blood?
And trash blood.
Well,
Trash blood.
Like you, Fusion.
they are trash blood.
Just keeps going down, further down.
Oh, Lord. So if you're the type of person who enjoys gore and ridiculously violent cinema, then you're in the right place. Welcome, Creeper. We're your hosts, obviously.
We love creepers.
We love creepers. I'm Stina, writer, comedian, killer clown enthusiast. I'm amazing. And as always, these are my two lovely co-hosts.
Oh, we exist?
Only temporarily.
In her mind.
Yeah, I'm Jen. Apparently, I'm an illustrator, colorist, and concept artist. And when I don't do all those things, I could tell you when you're going to die. Actually, I'm just going to tell you your fortune.
It's true. She does sling fortunes for a living. It's
I
wonderful.
do.
Mystical as fuck.
I am for real, though. I am an illustrator, colorist, and concept artist.
She's like, no. All right, first off, you killed Fusion. He's dead. He just died. Oh, man. Stop banging the table.
Listen, times is tough. Comic book artists gotta sling tarot cards at times.
That's true.
I gotta tell people's fortunes to get by.
That's not all she slings. Anyway.
I know. I sling this dick.
Hey! Right into Fusion's mouth.
Suck it.
So, Fusion, who are you?
Wow.
Dead inside.
Totally.
Yeah. It's just onslaught.
Listen, he got bitten by a coon person earlier, so we don't know how much longer we're gonna have him around before he turns into one of them.
That's the angle we're going for.
Fusion. Indestructible coon man.
All those preserves.
You are preservatives.
He is a preservative.
At this point, seriously. Actually, I'm concerned for you. Now introduce yourself.
He sells collectibles.
I do sell collectibles.
We call him the drug dealer. It's wonderful.
I sell collectibles. I work on this thing. That's all I got in
That's
life.
what he does.
He has no life. And this week, we have a very special treat in store. That's right, another Splatter Garage exclusive. Today, we're going to be chatting with director Pablo Macho Maysonet IV on his new horror film,
Await the Dawn.
Ooh. A movie that's circulating fast on the indie horror market and apparently has been trending in Vietnam for some time, so that's pretty cool.
Right.
And I suppose with that being said, I should welcome our guest. Pablo, what's up? How's it going?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks
thank
for
you
coming
for
on the
being
show.
here.
Seriously, we really appreciate you coming and giving us the inside scoop here. And just so our listeners know, this is the first and only existing interview and coverage on this film to date, so not to brag, but we're feeling pretty special over here. So thanks again, Pablo, for choosing to like us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome.
We saw this film at the Lovecraft Film Festival last year, right before the pandemic. And immediately I knew personally that I wanted to have you on the show because anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge fan of Evil Dead. Obviously, anyone who listens to the show knows I'm a huge fan of Evil Dead. And so many of
Or
the
watches
roots,
the streams.
Yeah, right. So much of the film has elements rooted in Evil Dead and H.P. Lovecraft and so much more. So I knew we were going to get along from the start.
Sweet.
We're going to be best friends, everybody.
BFFs.
History in the making on this podcast.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
All right, so Pablo, in your own words, can you give our listeners a brief synopsis of your film?
Basically, it's about a man who's on the run, and he ends up coming across a desperate family who are traveling cross country, and basically shows up, kidnaps them in a way, and they end up discovering that he's running from something that's more dangerous than he is.
Yes, it's very true. Something very dangerous indeed, and I can't
It's
wait
like
to
Fusion
talk about
running
that.
from Stina.
It very much so, actually, very much so. And
Somehow I get roped into it.
well, we steal your RV, obviously.
I know, right? No, it's Jared's RV.
Yes, Jeremy's RV. All right, well, there you go. That's from the man himself, but just in case that synopsis didn't do it for you, we have a trailer locked and loaded. That means it's time for Fusion to play that movie trailer.
I hope this works, Doc.
Recovery isn't going to be easy. She's just confused and frustrated.
Your mom and I really appreciate you coming out for your sister. She likes to play tough sometimes, but she appreciates it too.
Mom? Oh my God! All I need is for you to keep this thing moving south till sunup.
I wasn't gonna hurt you.
I know, you just seem desperate.
No one will get hurt as long as we keep everything cool. We just need to head as far away from here as possible.
She looks like she needs help. She doesn't need help! And no matter what she looks like, she's not a kid!
Run, little rabbit. Please, I don't want to die.
You don't have to do this, no!
You guys have no idea what will happen if this thing turns off.
What are we supposed to do?
All we have to do is just sit tight and do what?
All right, and there you have it. Await the Dawn. It's one badass flick. Don't believe us? Well, we're about to prove it with our favorite segment, Movie Highlights.
It's showtime.
Are y'all ready for this? Here's why you should watch Await the Dawn. Number 10, my very favorite, Kandarian-like demons. We'll swallow your soul.
Number 9, creepy, well-spoken kids. Oh God, she's refined?
Why?
Number 8, science fiction.
Number 7, Lovecraft-style outer gods. What's not to love?
Number 6, America's sweetheart, D motherfucking Wallace.
Number 5, science fiction.
No. Number 5, spear fighting. Hoo-cha! No.
Number 4, Latin chanting, neck snapping.
Number 3, science.
Stop it, Fusion.
Okay, fine. Number 3, blood explosion.
Number 2, finger chomping.
And the number 1 reason to watch this movie,
Alien face foreskin?
Yeah, okay, that one's kind of hard to explain. And that's it for our movie highlights. We'll be right back after a quick sponsor break.
Do you find yourself trying to connect with dead, deceased loved ones only to have it fail time and time again by releasing demons, outer gods, or even worse, dead in-laws? The power of Christ compels you, Aunt Karen. Forget Ouija boards and witchcraft. When it comes to contacting the dead, nothing works better than science fiction. Introducing the Protocoil. The Protocoil is a new groundbreaking tech with capabilities to transcend time and space. But how does it work? Well, it's on and blinking red. No, blue, yeah. On and blue. Is this the front side? Science fiction! The Protocoil is now on sale at your local retailer of top secret research surplus stores near you.
Hey you. Are you looking for a good time? Do you find yourself longing for a hard, thick graphic novel in your hand? Or even in your bed? Then come to Endgame Comics and Collectibles, where we've got all your heart's desires. Watch us back it up with our back issue comic books. And if you're the adventurous type, check out our featured section for all those naughty new releases. For those with a kinky side, we have enough toys to make a collector blush. Our toys are designed to be played with alone, with a friend, or even put on display for everyone to see. And while you're here, don't forget to check out our big decks. We've got Magic the Gathering. Ooh. Baseball cards. Yeah, baby. And introducing our new line of novelty tarot. You like that? So call Endgame Comics and Collectibles after hours at 805-628-9006. Or come see us at 1803 East Main Street, Ventura, California. Endgame Comics and Collectibles. We're so anxious to please you.
Everybody, and welcome back. We're here with our guest, horror director Pablo Macho Maysonet IV, aka Macho, here to talk about his upcoming film Await the Dawn. Now, before we get into this interview, we'd like to warn you up front that there may be some spoilers when we get into this discussion. So if you haven't seen the film and you're a stickler for that kind of thing, we recommend that you pause the podcast, maybe wait till you see the film. Otherwise, you were warned. And now that that's out of the way, Pablo, tell everyone about yourself.
Well, I'm a man.
You can't tell by that voice.
I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm a filmmaker, obviously. Been in the industry for about 17 years now.
Fantastic. What your love of horror?
My love of horror since practically birth.
Yeah.
My mother was extremely young when she had me. She was about 16. And she was a big horror fan.
Awesome.
So being a young mother, teenager, horror fan, she didn't kind of separate me from that.
Yeah.
She didn't coddle me. So
Thank God.
Yeah, not at all. Like, she tells me that the first movie she ever took me to see was in theaters was Scarface.
Nice.
Oh, your mom is a G.
Hardcore.
Yeah. And she said she knew I was going to be like in love with film because I never cried when I was in the
You paid attention the whole time.
I always paid. I took notes.
Mm-hmm.
Like 11 months.
Yeah, you got the little notepad there.
That's it.
It's probably just a sticky note because you're so tiny.
Easily.
But that's like a book for you.
Or an Etch-a-Sketch. Yeah, so it kind of rooted from there, and my mom just kept me watching horror films, and so I had horror in my roots.
So wait, are you more creature feature or are you more like slasher?
Oh yeah, what is your type
I'm curious.
of horror?
What's your favorite?
You know, I'm a little bit of everything. I really am.
Okay. All encompassing.
I love monsters. I really love a good, well-designed,
I mean, who doesn't,
executed
right?
monster. I mean, you look at it, what, The Thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Fly, Cronenberg's The Fly. Oh, you're wearing The Thing shirt.
Ain't no thing.
It ain't no thing. It's 80s thing, too.
Ain't no thing.
I had to have it. It's like I got to wear this today.
It's the Thing monster with a mohawk and glasses from the 80s.
The Blair monster. Yeah, I mean, when you have good special effects, I mean, it's going to look amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But I like slashers. I like paranormal films. I like anything.
So you don't discriminate?
Not at all.
Awesome.
Not at all. I love every aspect of horror, good and bad.
So, we've talked for some time, and I've actually never asked you this. I don't know if it's ever come up before. Is this your first film?
No. It's my fourth feature.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Fourth. I was thinking.
Fourth.
Wow.
Yeah, my fourth feature. I don't know how many films I've done.
It's crazy that hasn't come up in conversation yet.
Yeah, it usually doesn't. I mean, especially in LA.
Yeah, that's
true. When you meet people in LA, it's like, oh, everyone's trying to make a movie.
I agree.
That's why you come here.
I avoid,
exactly.
I avoid that whenever it's, what do you do? You don't want to start with that, like, I'm just like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to make it.
Yeah, I always say
this
that.
story
I
before.
always say, I'm like, well, big surprise, I'm a filmmaker. No, it's my fourth feature, and probably that, I don't know, maybe my 18th project in general, 18th film. I did a couple commercials as well, but it's my fourth feature.
You did commercials?
Yeah, nothing no one really ever watched.
Oh, no. I definitely want to talk about this later. I was just talking about how I love making commercials.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things.
Always like small brands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A couple conventions, horror conventions, I do promos for them and stuff. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's more fun. You have more freedom with that stuff anyway.
Yeah, and I'm still in the genre, so I'm still kind of
exactly.
doing what I love, you know.
It's not totally left field. You do get people out here that do a little bit of everything, and it's like, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
I deliver coffee, and I also make movies.
Yeah.
Jennifer works on comic books, and she's a gypsy. So
exactly. You'll see me on the street corner with my cart trolley.
That's Hollywood.
That is Hollywood, baby.
That's Hollywood.
It's amazing. I love this life.
Okay, so let's get into talking about this film, Await the Dawn. Obviously, you're the writer-director. It's starring Dee Wallace and Josh Server, who is from All That?
Yeah.
Like the original generation
OG.
of All. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I thought he looked familiar.
That is-
That's Ear Boy.
That
Yeah.
is
That's
crazy.
Ear Boy. And Detective
Holy
Dan.
cow.
Did he co-produce this with you?
No, he came in casting. In
He's just
traditional
a casting. Okay.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy.
Because I know one of the actors is a producer, right, on this film?
Right, actually, two. My head executive producer and his wife, he plays Steven in this film.
Oh, okay.
And then I have a producer who has a smaller part. His name's Matt O'Neill, but he's like in the flashback scene.
I see.
And
Okay.
he's one of the scientists in there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Fantastic. All right. So then obviously produced by Triple G Productions, Shattered Dream Productions.
Yep.
Which one's you?
I'm Shattered Dreams.
Of course. That's so whimsical. Look at you.
Shattered Dreams.
He's a poet, everybody.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Runtime 90 minutes and a body count of 9. Is that right?
I didn't even know that until you told me. So
I
was like,
did
had
the
to
count on
I
the
was like, how
fingers,
many people
yeah.
I killed? I guess 9 people. Well, that's actually, that's pretty good.
That's not
pretty good.
bad.
It's not bad. My second film had 21, I think.
Oh, so you're
Wow.
you set a high standard from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. But are you allowed to cuss on this thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You don't fuck around.
My second film was a piece of shit. So I just killed everyone. So
Everyone's going to die.
everyone's
I'm done.
going to die. 'Cause I can't-
Dead.
I hate all of you.
I can't write exposition. So it's,
Oh, that's
no,
amazing.
9 people I killed and Await the Dawn. Yeah, that sounds about right. I began writing Await the Dawn back in Jersey. I think it was 2011, maybe. It was about.
Oh, so this has been in the making for quite some time.
No, at the same time. So I started developing in Jersey. We had no budget. It was back in those really no budget days with me and a writer at the time that was kind of like my writing partner. And we looked around. We're like, in Jersey, this area that we were in, it's just like pinelands and just trees and really creepy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, well, what if we just shoot something in the woods? Something like a vehicle breaks down and we're kind of just stuck. That way, we don't have to leave. We don't have to go different spots.
Right.
And I started developing Await the Dawn there, but it wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when it comes to me, if I'm writing something, if it's not working, I won't necessarily shelve it, but I have a process that I do, and I put it in this specific section of my writing, what I refer to as springboards. And I put it in my springboard section. I kind of let it alone. Fast forward, almost 10 years later, I have a meeting with my executive producer who plays Steven in the film. And he calls me up, and he's an actor, and I was teaching at a workshop that he attended, an acting
That's
workshop.
right. You actually teach. I forget about that. You
Yeah.
do acting workshops.
Yeah. I was a guest in this particular workshop, and I ended up teaching it for like almost an entire summer. And he was there, and I it was there as the independent filmmaker and kind of telling people how things are done in the independent world for cheap. And so I kind of spoke my philosophy on how you can make films for really low budgets if you have enough resources. And I was like, if you're an actor and you have, you're surrounded by people who are also actors, and most of the time they're also aspiring writers or aspiring directors, and just get together and make a fucking movie.
Be versatile. Yeah.
That's
what we
Like,
did.
You have
Seriously.
it. You have your resources right there. Why are you waiting for permission?
I mean, that's Robert Rodriguez mantra. That's
Absolutely.
Charles Band mantra.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that was it. And I still preach that to this day. And, he just happened to be at several of the workshops. And a few months later, he contacts me. And he says, hey, that whole philosophy you have, you think you can make a movie for X amount of dollars? And I'm talking like relatively low. And I was like, yeah. If you have the right people together, absolutely. And he was like, all right, well, I'm, obviously I'm an actor. I want to be in a project. And if you have something that you think I could fit, that, I won't mind getting together and financing this thing. And they gave me specific parameters. Do you have something X, Y, and Z?
Right.
And I went to my springboards. And The Weight Dawn was just sitting there, and I was like, oh wow, shit! I haven't visited this movie in almost 10 years.
Ooh, serendipity, look at that.
Yeah, and the times have changed. I'm no longer in Jersey, and 10 years of life experience have changed. The political climate, the actual environment has changed.
Yeah.
There's so many things, and I wrote it. I ended up rewriting the script in 5 days.
Oh wow!
So
So
everything
you were
see on the
feeling
screen-
inspired.
Yeah, everything you see on the screen was written in 5 days.
So did you just completely gut it, like from scratch? Did you start over?
Somewhat. A lot of the main elements are still there. The RV,
Okay.
them being trapped. The killer changed. That had changed, and and other script elements have changed just to adapt to the times. And there was specific story problems I had. I couldn't figure out specific things of the characters' specific motivations.
Right.
And then 10 years later, I was like, oh shit, it's already here. And
Yeah, just like that.
Just like that. It just took 10 years.
And that's what they tell you. 10 years. What's 10 years, right? What's a
I know,
decade?
right?
Yeah,
What's a
exactly.
decade? But that is what they tell you. Like, if there's a script that you can't, you just have a block on it,
Yeah.
put it aside. You don't have to throw it away. Just put it aside
Yeah.
and revisit your inspiration.
Grow.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I did. I grew a little bit. I worked on other projects. I had more life experiences.
Right.
Which is why this film has life
It
experience
has a lot
in
of
it.
drama in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, and, which is necessary when you're in a confined space. You have to escalate it somehow. So usually that's done through interpersonal drama. I thought you handled that really well.
Thank you.
We're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about your inspirations behind this script. Obviously, there's a little Lovecraft in here. There's elements of Evil Dead and a dash of Dusk Till Dawn. Are there anything else that we missed?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Nailed it.
I know, right?
Pretty much sums it up. I think if
What do I win?
you win me saying you're right.
Yes.
You
Hey,
got
I'll
it.
take it.
You
That
got it.
never happens.
That's
Right?
it. You're right. That's exactly what it was. When I would pitch it to people, just be basic, I would say it's Evil Dead in an RV instead of a cabin. And not saying that I actually took nothing from Evil Dead.
No, it's not.
It just reads. It has those elements.
Yes.
like
It
has-
feels like it.
Yeah.
Other than the demons, the story is completely like
Its own thing.
unique. And you could tell the demons are like a lovely ode to that. And I want to get into the connection with the demons and the monster too. I thought that was awesome.
Well, it was. What's interesting about Evil Dead is Evil Dead. It's a rip off of H.P. Lovecraft as well.
Yes,
I mean,
it
you have
is. The Necronomicon. Is from.
So we're all stealing from. We're all drinking from the same well.
Yes.
You know? And
Exactly.
That's basically what it.
And
that's
Stephen
my
King too.
relation.
We were talking about that off mic,
yeah.
but Pennywise is essentially a Lovecraft monster.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The
anything
Mist,
dealing with
all that.
outer gods is essentially a Lovecraft.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that no one's really surpassed him in originality.
No,
And-
no one, you just have to be a narrow-minded racist. And you'll be able to understand Lovecraft. But, well, I mean, he was racist.
It's true.
You know, that's all his monsters are references to race.
Cancel.
Yeah, let's cancel him. How long has he been dead now? Dig him up and cancel his ass. Never too late.
I know.
It's never too late.
Lovecraft, you're canceled.
Yep. Hashtag love canceled. That's it.
Love cancel.
Oh man. So with the script being done and the story being like pretty fleshed out, well, how'd you get funding for it?
Yeah, was that all Steven or?
Well, that's all. That's all the executive producer and his wife. We started as a very. We were still low budget by any stretch of the imagination, but they came to me with a specific budget in mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I can make that movie for that. And every week the budget will raise a little higher. But
That's how it goes.
But
That's how it
It
goes.
does. But here's the irony of it. Not through me. It was through them
course.
themselves. They were like, you know what? We're going to put a little bit more money because this is really getting some traction.
Mm-hmm.
And the more traction we got, the more money they put. I was just
Well, that's
sitting
good.
back.
That's good
it's
though, because that makes
amazing.
sense. That makes sense. They weren't getting carried away and then blaming you or
no,
anything.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
It was literally a mindset of, hey, we're going to put X amount of dollars more because we could get this person.
Yes.
And this person, now they're reaching out to us and we're not reaching out to them.
Right.
And now there's interest. So, you know what? We put a little bit more. So at the end of the day, I honestly don't even know how much we spent. Because it kept going higher and higher, and in a good way, obviously.
Yeah.
We didn't go over budget because there really wasn't a specific
I
number
think you
to go
spent
over.
appropriately. The movie does look great. No, it looks great.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
Like
Every penny went into that film. You see it on the screen.
You can.
Yeah, every penny. Yeah.
So who did the special effects?
So the special effects guy is Mark Villalobos, and
who is this guy?
He's been in the industry for a very, very long time. We actually chatted about every so often, he'd be like, "Oh, I worked on that film." When we're talking, I was, "Oh, you worked on that one too? Shit, that's amazing."
That's how I feel when I talk to you.
With creature makers, it's like crazy like that. They are all the stuff that they work on, because I did a lot of creature effects early on when I came out, so I know, like, you're like, what?
It's endless. I mean, as most of us know, when you're in this industry, you also understand not everyone gets credit for what they do.
No, in fact, my sister is in the Monster Museum, and we did not know it.
Wow.
Her creature is in the Monster Museum, and we had no idea. We stumbled upon it, and we're like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
She designed the Fiber One Chewy monster. If you remember back in the day, he looks like a giant mogwai. He was like a space, alien.
like a space gremlin.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I designed that for Rick
No
Lazzarini.
credit.
No, Rick gets the credit for that one, because they actually built it. But I designed it, and I was like, it was like a late night text that I met him on Etsy, by the way.
What?
Etsy?
New social media.
That's like meeting someone on Pinterest.
Yeah, it was like he just messaged me. He's like, "How did you find me?" I was like, "I don't know. I was just reaching out to try to reach creature makers and get work." And then he just emailed me late one night and was like, "Hey, you want to lose some sleep and make a lot of money?" And I was like, "Sure. What are we doing?" I just for 48 hours designed this monster with him.
And that's it, though. You do all this work and get no credit. And that's Mark. I mean, Mark was one of those people. He would spit out, "Oh yeah, I designed Shrek." And I'm like,
I believe it.
Shrek?
I believe
and he's
it.
like, "Yeah, but I don't get no credit for that."
Is it
DreamWorks
true he was
gets
supposed
credit.
to be that he was supposed to look like what the VP or whatever of Disney at the time?
Oh, I don't know, because I know the design that if I remember the story correctly from Mark, is that Mark, there were several designers, and what Mark designed, they were like, "Oh, we're not going to go in that direction," and then they did. And they did.
That's what they did to me.
And they alter it enough where they don't have to give you credit.
Yes.
Motherfuckers.
So I don't know what is his. And it was a lot of these conversations were in the passing. Yeah, I did that, and I'm like, "Oh, what did you do? Everything."
I actually still have the original drawings from Mama.
Oh wow,
too,
that's good. You have that proof.
I can show you what they altered and what they didn't alter. But Rick
God.
never he always he was like, "Be proud, it's your creation."
Yeah,
but I'm like, "But you get the credit."
Yeah, it's my creation. I get no royalties.
I know.
Shout out, Rick. We love you.
We do love you, Rick.
Rick actually does follow. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just pretty cool. I'm not going to give you too much credit, Rick.
I didn't know who he was.
Great on the designs in this movie.
Oh yeah. Well, his team, the people who worked on it, did amazing. The sculpting, the guy who just did the sculpting of that head.
Yes.
Not necessarily the splitting one, but the foreskin.
I know
one.
it's the foreskin one.
That one, that guy was the sculptor on Lost Boys, and when I
that is amazing.
That was a big deal for me. When I saw him, I came into the shop and he was doing the sculpting. Real nice guy, and he was just sculpting it, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And Mark said, "Yeah, he's done some vampire work and some movies and TV shows."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh yeah,
some vampire work."
And he goes, "Yo, you know that brooding look from the Lost Boys?"
Oh.
I did
everyone replicated
since
from Buffy and all that. I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, I'm responsible for that. He said, yeah, I designed that, the brow.
Crazy.
And I was like, oh shit, Lost what? And I had to, of course, go home and watch my Blu-ray and go to the credits. I'm like, look at Earl, that's his name right there. But yeah, we had extremely talented people working on that we didn't even know.
Yeah.
Wait. I want to take a moment for awareness for listeners. Please pay your respects and watch the credits.
Yes.
Because those people that's the credit they get.
That's why I get so mad at Netflix when they shrink.
Yes.
When anyone shrinks the credits, I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, you can always tell the filmmakers too, because they stick around for the credits. Unless it's like a Marvel movie and they want to see post-credit scene. You know what I mean? If you're sticking around, it's because you want to pay your respects.
Like, I'm in
but
that.
it's true, guys. They're the unsung heroes. All right?
Yes.
The unsung heroes.
Truly.
So let's talk about casting for a moment, because America's sweetheart, or I'd say Scream Heart, Dee Wallace is in this film. How did you end up with Miss Dee?
Dee was, I love her so much. She's an absolute sweetheart.
She's so sweet.
Yeah.
We got
in
to
all
meet
the
her
movies,
at
man.
Everything.
Yeah,
She's
like
in
everything
everything.
that influenced me.
Yeah, she was the top of my list. She was the pipe dream.
Oh,
right.
She really was. It was very early. When we're having a very early meeting, nothing was cast at this time. I had just brought in my my producer / live producer Matt O'Neill, who's amazing, and we were all sitting down, and we're like, all right, we got to start doing this casting thing. In a perfect world, who would you want as your lead, like, mother? And I was like, well, if money wasn't an option,
America's
I
mom.
want America's mom.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I said. I want America's mom. I want Dee Wallace. And luckily for me, my main executive producer knew who she was and was like, "Oh my God," knowing he was also
Wait,
side by side.
Steven?
The guy who plays Steven, yes.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "Oh, I get to play next to Dee."
Yes,
that
of
was,
course
I'm
he
sure
loved
that's-
that, of
course. And I mean, he knew exactly. He was like, "Oh my God, she's amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, she is. And we'll never get her, but I mean, that would be, that would be who I would love to want." And then, ironically enough, Matt, my line producer, goes, "I know Dee."
This is always,
we were just
it's
talking
always.
about that. Just talking about that.
It is about who you know.
Exactly.
It really is, unfortunately.
And you never know who
And the
knows
stars
you.
aligning.
Yes, and
And
the
the
stars
stars
aligning.
aligning.
And Matt would just so happen to he had previously worked for an agent that's also a friend of mine, and he was like, "Well, such and such repped her when she would do conventions, and I've worked with her in conventions and things like that, so I have direct contact. I could call her up." And I was like, "Well,
I bet you had
try.
heart palpitations
Oh,
at that
immediately.
moment.
It was one of those things. I was like, "It ain't gonna happen."
Yeah.
I've been, filmmaking. You're just surrounded by disappointment. So it's like
Everyone builds everything up. It's true. Everyone builds
Always.
everything up. We can do this. We can get that. I'm gonna run
And
this.
then the
to-
reality
and then
hits.
it kicks in, and then you hear the no's, or not the no's, the maybe next time.
Yeah, which is somehow worse.
No, it's just
because
tell
it's
me.
like they feel
there's gonna
sorry
be-
for you or something. There's like some
Always.
pity there.
Yeah, like sympathy.
It is. And no, it was really almost that simple. He ended up reaching out to her. She read the script and she jumped on board immediately. There really wasn't and the great thing about that is when we ended up sitting down to meet with her for the first time, she had literally just flown from shooting the last Critters Attacks.
Yes,
That's right.
And no one knew. It wasn't public. And I sit down and she's kind of jet lagged. She even says it. She goes, "Apologize, I'm a little jet lagged." But she was like, "I just finished filming the next Critters. No one knows. No one knows it's the next
But
Critters.
you know.
But you know. And then she says the director's name, and I'm like, "Oh, he's from like the same town I'm from in New Jersey." When I opened my first studio, he was one of the people involved. And I'm like, how does this world work?
Right?
Well, she works with people that came from Jersey in the same area I was. So it was everything lined up.
No, in my experience though, you Jersey people get around because I
We
keep
do.
meeting a lot of Jersey folk out here.
You
And
get
most
shit
of
done.
you, what's funny is it's part of a stop though. It's like there's Jersey and then usually Florida and
Yep.
then Hollywood.
Always.
Like always.
Always.
Yeah.
I have friends right now they're in the Florida stop.
They're on their way.
Florida
They're on
is
their way.
where Blair Witch was made.
Yeah, because there's a film. A lot of TV's filmed out. in
Funny
Florida.
story about that. Like the guy who got me in the film was offered to do location for that film, and he turned it down because he never saw it making money. And he was like, "It's the biggest mistake I ever made in my whole life." It's like
Yeah,
the biggest
that would
mistake
hurt.
I ever made. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people were regretting the Blair Witch passing.
So-
Blair Witch stuff.
So the other actors in this film, have they been in anything that we would recognize in horror or in the horror industry?
Well, yeah, there's a few. So you have Courtney Gaines, who plays Dr. Hewitt. Courtney is Children of the Corn, the original.
I thought he looked familiar.
Malachi, yeah, the outsider. Yeah, the redhead. The
Oh,
creepy
that's
redhead.
fascinating.
The evil
The
redhead.
evil redhead.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he was in The
recognized him.
Burbs and Back to the Future.
The Burbs?
Wait,
Yeah,
who
he's
was?
the one of the hick.
He was. Is that him?
Yeah,
the
Seriously?
fuck
Yeah, with the
out
tank
of
top
here.
and
What?
Yeah, that's
Hey,
Courtney.
Pinocchio! I watched The Burbs like
I
all the
well,
time.
Apologize, we're having a freak out.
I'm sorry. How
straight
did
up
I
fell
not
down.
notice this?
Yeah, that's Courtney. That's our Dr. Hewitt. Yeah,
That's
and-
amazing.
Yeah. No, he has a long legacy. And he's one of those people that a lot of people see and it's like, "Oh, you're that guy." But a lot of times they don't pinpoint, even though he has
Yeah.
like such a unique name, Courtney, for Courtney Gaines. You're going to remember that name.
Your monster in this film takes the form of a little girl.
Yes.
So what is it about demonic children that you're particularly terrified?
I mean, who's not terrified of demonic? Well, who isn't really terrified of children at first?
That's
I
true.
know, right?
That's true. Very true.
Parenthood is
They
terrifying.
don't even have to be demonic.
Let's just insert Resident Evil 8 again.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Village,
exactly.
the
Let's
giant
not get
fetus.
back on this
Yep.
conversation.
I know.
I know. No, it's children are terrifying, and what's
Yes, they are.
they're absolutely terrifying. And I have 3 godchildren.
Aw.
And two of them are girls. And I say little, but they're adults now. The youngest
Right.
turns 18 like
God.
just a few weeks. But I being around these kids, the little girls, seeing them walking in at night. Me and their father are best friends, almost practically childhood best friends. And I would see them at night walking in their little robes, looking like the Ring. I'm like, get the hell away from me! Like there was times we would scream. Me and their dad. We were just, it'd be like 2:00 in the morning on the computer or whatever, and we can't really see because you get like night vision when you're on the computer screen.
Yeah.
And we just turned, and our vision's starting to focus, and we see his youngest daughter, who's like fucking 3 feet, and she's wearing a little nightie, and her hair's in front of her.
Oh no!
And she's like, "Daddy," and we just yeah, freaked out.
Demon child.
Demon child. So I was terrified of that. But and this actually goes back to what I said earlier. The original killer wasn't a kid.
What was the original killer?
It was supposed to be Howard's brother.
Was casting Maggie like a pain in the ass?
Absolutely.
Did you have problems shooting?
Yeah, finding the right kid
Oh my
too.
God, a nightmare almost.
Here we go.
That was a hard movie in its own. No, we knew we were going to have a problem. We were blessed enough to have a lot of the cast come to us without a casting director, with the exception of the kid. When it came to the kid, we're like, we need a casting director that specializes in children, because as we got closer to the shooting, we were just, all our options were drying up, and we reached out. We did have some possibilities. We reached out to some little girls. One girl was like doing Miss Captain Marvel at the time, so we ain't getting her.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, she's doing Captain Marvel. She's gonna have Marvel money.
We
can't compete with Marvel. So we were like,
Damn
okay,
it, Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on, and we ended up getting a little girl, and everything seemed fine. We were like, oh my God, she looks great. I could work with it. Children are hard to work with if they're not.
There's so many like limitations and restrictions. I mean, what is it even? You can only have them work for so long, like a couple hours.
Yeah, so you only could have them. I don't even know the hour limit because we primarily shot at night. So when we were on location, we're like, the hour that doesn't matter. We gotta know when we could get out.
Yeah.
And she could only be on set till about 10 p.m.
Okay.
And then she
10
has to get
p.m.
out.
When did you start?
Oh, God.
At 7 p.m.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my God. So everything you only
God.
had 4 hours to get the shots with her.
That's insane.
Exterior.
And she's probably the least experienced, but the most important.
Yeah, and
God.
yeah, exactly, and probably the most ambitious. The girl we ended up using, Hannah, is a delight. She has a lot of mature ideas. So when she came to,
she had a delivery that was very sophisticated and like intelligent. I thought that was interesting. Like it wasn't quite that it was.
It wasn't like she was a monster per se. Like she belittled.
She was definitely an intelligent
She saw
being.
everyone as beneath her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's we discussed that.
Yeah.
And I discussed, I was like, you're older than all these people. You're older than every single person here. That's kind of how I told
But at
her.
the same time, like 10, 11-year-old girls think that way anyway.
Right, that is true.
Exactly.
Yeah. She was 9. She just turned 12.
See, I called it.
Yeah, she was 9. And she was like, oh yeah, and I think I'm gonna do this, I think I'm gonna do that. And I was there, well, don't show me now. I want to see it when we're filming. I like for actors to preserve their performance.
She got into it. She manhandles everyone in this
She did.
film.
Well, it was funny. Courtney, ironically enough, he comes on, and Courtney's a child actor.
Yeah.
And the day, obviously, this is spoilers everywhere, obviously, but she decapitates him. She rips his head off.
Like the third kill, second that you see in the movie.
I think he's the second
that you see.
Yeah.
Well, there's the 2 in the beginning, right? But you only see
we
one of them.
We don't know. We don't know. We never see Vernon get killed.
Interesting.
But no.
True. Yeah.
You gotta pay attention.
Hey.
No. Yeah. So she pokes his eyes out, and she rips his head off.
Yeah.
And
I love that. I love the progression
that
too.
It was great. That was actually an interesting.
How long did it take to get that done?
Well, to get the shot was actually pretty fast.
Right.
There was issues because of the blood.
Yeah.
And the head weighed a lot more because she was tiny, so it was hard for her to throw it because she has to see when she throws through the RV. So we had a little things there, but we didn't have the time.
And every time she gets blood on her, and you got to reset.
And then her hands are a little sticky. Her
Yeah.
hands are always getting sticky, but she loved it.
So to change gears a little bit, you shot in the RV.
Yeah.
Did you shoot in an actual inside the RV, or did you like build sets
was
to
that
look?
a set or was that an RV? That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Really?
no, it's definitely
You would
a
have
set.
to because
Wow.
an RV is too. You got to get that
Way too
camera
tight.
around.
Well, I remember when the first time I sat down with Dee, she looks at me, she goes, "We're not shooting in an RV, right? It's gonna be a set." Like she gives me this look. Like
Because I was
it wasn't a question. It was more of a statement.
Yes. Yeah.
You're gonna be on a set, right? And I was, oh no, of course we're gonna be on a set. There's no way We knew it early. We're like, even if we had like $20 to make this film, it's going to go to a set.
But
Like,
that also tells what kind of film she's been on in her
and,
life.
no, and she said that. She was like,
someone
listen.
has tried to do that.
Yeah,
No,
and she kind of said that too. She was like, I've been on those low budgets.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, man.
Even I knew, like at the table scene, there's no way you can get all that equipment over in that itty bitty aisle. Like it's just impossible. It'd be easier just to set up a room to look
Absolutely.
like an RV.
Yeah, we had, it was a studio. It was a soundstage.
What about the exterior shots?
Exteriors, no, that was fun. That was shot in Simi Valley. That was right next to the Spawn Ranch. Technically the Spawn
Oh,
Ranch.
very cool.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was wondering because you're just out there on that dirt road and everything.
Yeah, no,
so-
that's when we were location scouting. Quentin was rapping Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh.
I forgot you had the rent. That's right.
Right. We walked in. They were still demolishing sets.
So
Like,
you
they
actually
had stuff to the side.
So you got the permits and everything.
Yeah, I mean, the moment we walked there, and they were like, "Yeah, Quentin rapped. This is what we're shooting."
That's awesome.
That's it. My executive producer was like, "Oh yeah, without doubt." And there were another group of people who were really gracious, and it was very dangerous there though, because you have rattlesnakes and you have camel spiders, which I didn't know we get in California.
Yeah, we get camel spiders.
None of us knew until we saw
What
them.
the fuck? No.
Yeah,
That's
babies.
terrifying.
They were babies, but there were camel
The
spiders.
they
babies
get
are
big.
still
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
The babies are the size of your fist.
Yeah,
Like,
it was like
God.
maybe 2:00 in the morning. We looked down and we're like, "Why is the sand moving?"
No.
Like we see
Tremors?
sand moving, and we look. It was little babies just running everywhere.
Oh, no.
And Josh, it was funny. Josh,
babies plural.
babies, absolutely. And we were shooting the cemetery scene, and Josh,
Oh, no.
Josh Server was sitting on
On the
floor.
ground. Oh
And-
my god.
And he was there for a while.
Christina's
And
got
when
the
we said it, we were like, "Oh, what, guys? Just be careful. There's camel spiders." And he goes,
Yeah, in
"Macho,
passing?
there's camel spiders, and I've been here for 3 hours." Okay.
Quick question.
There's camel spiders. All right, great. And then we have rattlesnakes, babies, which are kind of the most dangerous.
I'm actually not so.
Yeah, they are the most dangerous.
They are the
They
most-
have no control
Yep.
over
That makes
how
sense.
much. Yeah, they'll
And
just
that-
pump it all into you.
And that screwed us up.
I'm sorry.
They would.
Phrasing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
They're
I mean,
efficient.
you know.
They pump it all. No, and
Those young ones, you know.
yep, they don't know. They
gotta learn.
Life experience. No, but yeah, that and
So protection.
protection. And that was another problem was the stakes. We actually were setting up the graveyard, and we're everyone's pulling the tombs and we're setting everything up. And one of I think my gaffer or someone walks up and said, "We're gonna have a problem." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "There's rattlesnakes."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "Yeah, there's rattlesnakes. We're in the fucking mountains." And he goes, "No, there's like a nest."
Oh god.
God.
And I was like, "Well, where's this nest? Is it like close?" He was like, "It's on it." So we walked in.
Who's your gaffer that
and
he
there
can
was-
immediately?
well, here's the thing. He was either a gap. He was someone
Camel
in
spiders,
electrical.
rattlesnake
Yeah.
nests.
Well, and this is where it came from. He's definitely someone in electrical. And he came out. He was like, "Yeah, this is gonna be a big deal because cables look like snakes, and if we're running cables everywhere."
You're not gonna be.
No
able to
one's
tell.
gonna know what's what, and last thing we need is someone to grab a cable, and it's a fucking rattlesnake.
Yeah.
And obviously, I wasn't even gonna try. I was like, no, we're moving regardless.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to make sure how far.
Exactly.
How far do
We need to go.
We went to the other side of the mountain at that point in order to shoot because
Wow.
those stakes. It was. I walked up and it was just
Bad,
sitting there.
huh?
I was like, okay, we're gonna move it to the other side. My poor production designer, she was like, okay. Okay. She had just put like the final tombstone down. She was like, okay. Yeah, so that
Sounds like my life.
put it down your final tombstone.
Right.
Oh boy.
So how long did you shoot for?
We shot. I want to say we scheduled 24 days, but we shot 23 something. We were. I was so ahead of schedule. We shaved the day off.
Wow.
Nice. That like never
good.
happens.
Never. And I'm just used to it because it's usually my dime that's being wasted. This is the first production I had that I didn't finance, or at least I wasn't one of the financiers. So.
So there you have it. If you're looking to hire a filmmaker and
Right? That's efficient.
That's efficiency. Yes, that's something I definitely live by. But I'm used to it. Just getting what you need.
now you said you did a lot of rewriting and everything. I was just curious. Was it always the plan to introduce her first, or was this a rewrite, or even in post? Did you decide to get a pickup shot, or
The bar was always in the script.
it was always in the script?
Since 2010, 2011.
Really? So even in the very original,
It was always the bar.
so you just had that in mind. You're going to
Yeah.
start with the bad guy
Yeah.
first.
And now it wasn't always a bar. Originally, it was a gun shop.
oh,
Because the
interesting.
motivation, she needs a gun.
Yeah. But the
So,
bars have guns. Though,
Bars
right?
have
So it
guns.
makes
That
sense.
was literally on set. We walked into Remit, and it's a pre-built set, and we walked in. We're like, a bar.
Yeah,
Because we
perfect.
hadn't locked the gun shop yet.
Right.
And we were having different options for a gun shop, and we walked in and saw the bar, and we all kind of looked at each other. And we're like, the bar?
Makes sense.
What if it's a bar? Bars have gun.
Bars have guns. Bars are in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. Or have weird hours to open.
They have all.
So we were like, oh, this is perfect, and we changed it to a bar. But it was always that same confrontation, a little small business.
Which I will say, the bar scene actually is one of my favorite scenes.
It does set up really nicely, but you didn't shoot that first.
No.
What'd you shoot first?
What I shot first, we shot the store, the scene where they're in the convenience store.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we shot. Was day one. With them just kind of having, trying to get the snacks. There was an extended scene there. It had to do with more things like a lighter and a.
Was there an issue with timing for the bar shot? Here's the thing: you had amazing cinematography this whole movie, but you shot day for night in the first opening scene. So that tells me that you were on. You must have had a schedule.
Well, yeah. Well, the day for night was it was almost a no brainer. Only because if we shot at night. Now, the interesting fact about it is, the exterior of that bar, which was used in Twin Peaks, which I didn't know until recently.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah,
Fun fact.
My producer called me like probably less than a year ago, and he was like, "I'm watching Twin Peaks. You ever watch?" I was like, "I love Twin Peaks." He goes, "We used the fucking bar." I was like, "What episode?" And I went back and I looked. I was like, "Oh my god, it's the same." They even used the same shot.
What?
It looked like I stole it from
Meltdown
Twin Peaks.
number 2. Meltdown number 2.
It literally looked like I stole it from Twin Peaks. With one of the
it was
characters.
intentional.
That's it. It was an homage.
That's right.
An homage.
Yeah.
We knew.
We know. I know that. Of course I know that. But no, that location is the same spot of the convenience store. You're looking to the left instead of looking to the right. If I turn the camera to the right, you see the convenience store right there. It's the same location. But no, it was just we knew we weren't going to be able to light it.
Oh.
We were like, there's no way we're going to light this.
You didn't have that big.
We didn't have the big money.
Yeah,
we didn't have the condors. And
okay,
I was like,
I
we ain't
gotcha.
gonna and the thing is, there's those hills right behind it.
Yes,
and I was like, I'm not going to lose those hills. If we light, we're only going to be able to afford to light the building
at most.
And it's going to be pitch black. And I was like, I want the mountains.
No, it looks great.
Yeah, so we just shot.
I just thought that it was different because you had such. I just noticed it was different.
Yeah,
so
it was just convenience.
Strategically, it made more sense.
Yeah, it was strategic. We wouldn't have been able to light it. It wouldn't have looked good.
Nearly as good. You wouldn't have had that framing. You wouldn't have had that framing.
Right. And granted, day for night is always tricky. It's day for night, but honestly, it's better than what we would probably
I mean, mostly it's only filmmakers that notice that shit anyway.
Right. Yeah. And nitpickers. People are like, it's day for night. Like,
I had to.
Every movie's day for night.
I'm sorry. I had to.
Yeah, the entire movie, 30 Days of Nights, is day for night. The entire fucking movie is day for night.
Oh, getting some venting down. I love it. Love it. All right, so in the bar scene, this is where we're first introduced to this weird, like, mind control power that Maggie has. She seems to be able to, like, tap into people's minds and turn into, like, she kind of controls them and they transform into these demon minions.
Like the
Kandarian demon, so to speak. So what was the thought process behind this power? And can you like get into greater detail about how this came about? Was it always in the script? And are there limitations to the power too?
Yes, there are definite limitations. The powers were kind of almost through convenience, almost like a plot device convenience. The first, now I want to say the original, the first version of the script we shot, the one that was approved actually had more than one monster. And she was
I was curious about that.
She was the leader of the pack.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and that's what we approved.
Which still kind of is because you allude to it.
Yeah, I do allude to it. It's still a lot of the elements are still in the script.
It's still in there. Yeah.
There was actually to the point that like when we were on the third revision, I realized there was like one word where it's like them, and I was like, oh shit, she's referring to more than one, and I had to go back in and fix it. I missed this one. I missed this one, but there were supposed to be more, and she was the only one that looked human. Because she was the only one that shapeshifted before she came out. They never have the shapeshifting ability.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have the shapeshifting. She did.
The leader has the shapeshifting.
The one that could come through.
I like that because it's distinctive to her.
Yeah.
You know, so we know that there's something special.
And she was
her.
a door. Like she's the doorway. She opened the door for the rest of them to come through. So there was multiple. And once I took the one out, took the multiple creatures out. And they had names. They were called cryptomorphs. They actually had a whole backstory.
Oh, wow.
Cryptomorphs.
Yeah,
cryptomorphs.
that is actually cool.
And there's thought. It's not just that it sounds cool. It sounds cool. But there's actual thought means something. But yeah, and so once I took that out, I was like, well, how is this little girl going to... She can't physically kill everyone.
Right. She can't even choke people.
Right, exactly. She can't even choke people. But I was like, there's no way. So then I started taking elements I had earlier, which was the mind control aspect of it that she could tap into.
Let's pull some influence, man. Get some Evil Dead in there.
Yeah.
Love it.
I
fucking love it.
Exactly. So then I got into there.
Now, I have to ask about the limitations because I was taking notes the last time I was watching. I feel like every fucking time I looked down, I had to miss something. I was like, I'm just gonna ask him because I don't know what the hell. How was she able? Was it like, did she touch them beforehand? Is it like a space?
Okay.
Like,
yeah. So there is a thing that wasn't fully established well. I do look at it, I'm like, damn, we didn't establish that well enough. And that's eye contact.
Eye contact.
So it is.
So I knew there was something.
There is some kind of a contact.
And there's 2 moments in the film where we connect it, but we didn't deliver it as well.
Okay.
And it's with the Jamie character, the lead female. At one point when they're arguing and they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to run out there to the car."
She
looks out the window.
She does.
And there's a slight music cue, which that also depends on which version you've seen. There's a slight music cue that gives us, and it's the same music cue you see later with the creature when she's fully creatured, as she's choking Josh Server. It's the same music cue. And then Lana, the girlfriend that has the kind of a little love turmoil. She looks out the window as well. She sees the creature in the distance earlier in the film, and that's her connection to why she becomes kind of possessed later as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's always supposed to be eye contact.
So it's eye contact. Okay.
Right. But
I knew there was something.
we ended up doing a terrible job.
No, you didn't do a terrible job. I actually did. I did clock it with the outside when they looked at her.
I picked up on there was something happening.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if it was just that she could sense that they had like a weak mind.
Exactly.
She could control the mind.
Yeah.
So I wasn't 100% there was the eye contact, but I knew there was some connection.
There was a connection.
Yeah.
I knew
there was a lot more that was intended. But it came down to those things. I was like, listen, there's a lot of what we would refer to as sci-fi talk. There's a lot of sci-fi talk in this. We're talking science
fiction.
Science fiction. There's a lot of science fiction. And Josh would always say it because he's Howard. He's the one that has to say it. So he was like, listen, I'm doing a lot of science today. We're doing a lot of science today. We're talking a lot of science, so we're gonna have to take some time. There's a lot of dialogue here. So there are certain plot points that happen, like with the device turning red as opposed to it turning blue, that have to be explained, because if not, when you had that after credit reveal, that is bringing something back. That's why it's blue. That's why it's lighting blue. So there's little things in there that I was like, I know the audience wouldn't get unless we explain it.
I mean, it's a fictional.
Device. It's a fictional device. You can't just say it's magic and just go from there.
Yeah.
You got to give it something.
You could, but that wouldn't be good.
No,
yeah, you could.
Again, we watched Drive Angry and that fucking God gun. The fucking God gun. Every time I'm like, how do you just pull this out of nowhere?
Science fiction.
Because we all know what a God gun is, right, guys?
Yeah.
And then they never use it to kill a guy. Okay, sorry.
Right. She's going up. So do you have the Protocoil? Where is it now?
I do. I should have brought it. Yeah, I have. I made it. I made
you fucking made that?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I thought that was going to be your boy that did effects. That he was building the props too.
No, I made it before I think we even cast.
Okay. Did any of the actors give any improv lines or beats that you decided to keep? There's one scene with Steven's character. It's actually right when she kills Dr. Hewitt, and he's just like, "Not today." Dude, I died so fucking hard. I was like, "Was that in this?" Either way, it's awesome.
It is in the script.
It is. Oh God.
That's all me, because coming from Jersey, a lot of us say that. Not today. Not today. And a lot of mothers, when the kid's acting up, should listen. Not today. You're not going to embarrass me in front of these people today. Not today.
Your Jersey comes out for it, dude.
Not today. So that was always in there. I was like, it got to be not today. And I was very conscious of it. I was like, I hope it comes out natural. It sounds that. And it did.
It's very natural. It's just so incredibly hilarious. I had to ask. Because I was like, also the way he delivered it was very authentic too. That's why I genuinely thought it was an improv line, that he was just having fun with it, just not today.
Oh no, he did a good job with that one.
He did a
real good job with that one. No, that was and that's, I guess that's, it works. It works well enough to make someone think that it wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, and you know what? And Steve is a very upstanding guy, by the way. Is he based off anyone? The whole time I'm like, can we just talk about Steve? Like, this whole man stands by his fam. I like Steve.
Right?
Like, I really do.
Well, it's just a character I wish more people aspired to be like.
Yeah.
You know, that's the stand-up guy that will stand by his family even if it's not his blood family.
That's fucking heartfelt.
You know, so it's just like I wanted to create a dad that everyone would want. A stepdad
I love that guy.
Want.
So saying that, I want to give a shout out to my stepdad, David, because he is that guy.
Yeah, he is.
Dealing with 3 daughters that were not his.
And I was very much...
And still doing it.
Wow.
And I was not the easiest to deal with.
No.
I really was not. Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so back
moving
to
on.
and we already knew we were going to do some visual effects with the mouth ripping open. We had to hide the scar. And I have a little bit of a visual effects background. So I was like, I could do that. I know how to do that. I could cover up the mouth. So at this point, we shoot it. We're having some issues, as every film does in post-production. And that, like, I think it's 3 seconds of the mouth ripping open took us maybe like 3 months to get fixed.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We had to
It's
lose
always it's like something small
so
but major.
And and rightfully, and I do applaud the executive producer making the call, because he was like, listen, this effect, we can't lose the momentum. Like, everything's going so good. This is the first big
he's right.
effect
That's
for
heightening.
her.
That is heightening.
Right.
You
This
can't fuck that up.
This is the first time we see her do something.
Yeah.
If we and hats off to him. If there was like, if I have to spend more money to make this look right, I'm going to spend the money.
Thank you, Steven.
So,
what's his real name?
Greg. His name is Greg.
Okay. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, and we did it, and he went forward, and we ended up getting 2 other people, and so at the end, that final shot is 3 different special effects people, myself included. So I did a lot of the lips moving. When it starts to rip open, you see like this, and the mouth starts to move a little bit. I did that visual effect.
Oh, nice.
So I did
Hats
a pass
off.
of it.
That really looked fantastic. That whole thing looked fantastic. I mean, I knew when I watched it, I was saying to myself, I'm like, this looks fantastic. But in the back of my head, I was like, this was not easy.
No, it wasn't.
Right?
It wasn't.
Yeah, no.
One person, so I did the lips. One person did the actual mouth ripping. Well, not ripping because it was already ripped the dummy, but covering it.
Right.
Covering it up. And he actually just did Captain Marvel when he did it.
Oh,
so
nice.
he didn't have much time. So he was like, I could do it, but so we were like, all right, well, just do what can you do?
Exactly.
And he
What
did
can
what
you
can you
do?
do? He did that, and then we actually hired a special effects guy who did amazing, who did all the facial tracking. He said, get me as much B-roll of the little girl as you have. I want every angle I can get from her. And I did have a lot of B-roll. So I was like, here you go, sending footage, and he started breaking her face apart and mapped pieces of her
that's so cool.
onto it. So because my whole thing was, I was like, I want it to blink. I was like, what's the reason why it looks like a dummy to me is because the eyes are lifeless. It's still.
Yeah.
If she could blink, it's going to sell it. It's going to sell the realism.
Yeah.
And he was like, got it. And he did it like in 3 days. This guy was amazing.
amazing.
Once I saw her blink, I was like, it's sold.
Yep.
We got it. We got this fucking effect.
Damn, so that literally was a 3-month just whole tangent, like this whole little side.
There was headaches. There's probably like 8 different versions of that shot.
At least you got it done.
So was there a reason why you just decided, because we learn in this movie that Maggie is the daughter of Howard, obviously. That's like, revealed, and just kind of torturing him a little bit with that image. But was there a reason why you decided to just keep it the girl instead of having her maybe transform into someone else's fears?
Well, yeah,
or
was that ever a part of
was that something you thought about? Or
I did initially think of that, but then just budgetary restraints.
Oh, I figured, but I
like,
just wanted to make sure.
Right.
I was like, if I looked at it from a technical point of view. I was like, if she's going to be turned into other people, I don't know, it's going to add more time to the shooting schedule and things like that. And then I thought, in writing, now I'm going to have to explain an extra bit of information, and I'm already explaining way too much.
This is true.
I'm like, we're explaining, we have like 17 rules to this damn movie, and I don't want to add another one.
Right. It is interesting to know that you did toy with the multiple monsters, though. So you did have other ideas.
Yeah.
Like, you were going to have other monsters.
Yeah, and some of those kills stood in the movie. The head ripping of the little girl, that transformation didn't happen, but that death of the 2 strangers coming up in a vehicle, that death did happen.
Quick shout out, by the way. Who was that actress that was one of the 2 strangers? Because she was phenomenal.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
she
the whole
was.
time
She
I
was
was
great.
like, this bitch is killing it.
She's selling it.
Lovely. Oh my God. Her name is Lovely Carol. I love her. She is
I see why.
amazing. When she walked on set,
She wasn't even that much in the movie, but she
Yeah.
took my breath away.
I told her when we finished shooting, we had her for maybe 3 or 4 days. And when I finished with her, we finished with her in full makeup, where she's on the RV and she's yelling and all that stuff. And I told her, I said, "You're gonna steal the show."
She fucking
I was like,
did.
"You're gonna
She
steal the
fucking
show."
did. She was so good. What did she do? She's got to be in stuff, man. There's no way that she's just that.
She's another one that she's done things, but
Nothing you would know.
Yeah,
So you got a gem before
Yeah,
she
I
got
did.
discovered.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go.
Absolutely.
That's gonna. Yeah.
She's so good, and I at the time, like when we brought her in, Matt O'Neill, my line producer brought her in, and he tells me, he goes, she's gonna love to do this because she's always like the pretty hot girl.
Oh, and now she gets to
She's
be a
always hot, and now
monster.
she's messy.
She gets to be a
and she's
monster.
gonna love it. And when she walked out of the special effects room and she walks on set, she was the monster. She was possessed.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
she walked up and her eyes were, our script supervisor, who I love to death.
Are you saying she was in character even
She was
between?
in character.
Yes, I love
she
it.
walked out. She walked up to the script supervisor. And the script supervisor looks at her and said, "Get the fuck away from me." Get the fuck. Nope. Don't look at me. Get the fuck away from me.
Not today.
And not today. She thought it. She thought she had not today.
What was it like to work with Dee Wallace? Like through this whole process?
Right, you had a story that you wanted to share, or that you shared with me. I was wondering if you'd share with the listeners the ET story.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was fun. It was a little intimidating too.
That's how you know it's a good story.
Yeah, well, you know when you have someone that has such a career like Dee. I mean, she's a legend.
Storied career for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a legend. She's a living legend. And an absolute sweetheart. And she, for a film that's a low budget, you could expect actors to kind of dial it in, you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't dial it in.
No.
You know, she absolutely
she delivers some monologues.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that'll bring a tear to your eye. It's like, damn, where's her Oscar?
It brought me. There was times it brought me a tear to my eyes while I was editing it. While I'm editing words that I wrote.
Yeah, you're like, I know what's gonna happen.
I wrote the dialogue. I'm like, man, that's so nice.
Pablo, it's not real. None of it's real.
None of it's real. We don't exist in the flesh. No, but she was an act, but you expect her to kind of dial. You know, not necessarily her, but you expect a caliber actor like that. Yeah. And she didn't. Like she treated like this film like it was a multi-million-dollar film. And I obviously tip my hat off to her because of that. But when someone has a legacy, you don't know what you could joke about.
Yeah.
You don't know, and you
like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. You
yeah,
can't bring that
can't
shit
bring
up.
Right? Can't bring it up. He'll be like, hey, listen, you can't talk about that. Like he'll get really upset. He's like, hey, listen, hey there, little boy, you can't talk about that. That's not what we talk about here. But no, people are like that. Dee's not. Dee absolutely isn't. So we were well into shooting. I think we're probably like a week out from wrap, and she's probably like 2 days out from wrap. We're on location. We're at Semi Valley, and out by the Spawn Ranch. And I was unaware that someone brought it to my attention. They go, "Do you see what they just did to Dee?" And I was like, "Oh shit, what?
Oh no,
who did what?" And they were like, "Well, we don't know who did it." And I'm like, "Well, who did what?" And they were like, "Come with me." And he brought me to her dressing room, and we go to her trailer. And right outside the trailer, there's a row of Reese's Pieces. A bunch of Reese's Pieces slowly dotting a path all the way into the woods.
Of course.
Into the woods. And I'm like, and I got a little worried. I'm like, oh shit, like we don't know what to joke around, you know. It's late. We shoot like 7 o'clock in the morning, you know. So when it's late, you know, we don't know how she's feeling. We don't know. And I walk out and I'm like, I say something about it to Dee. She goes, I just want to know who did it. I thought it was kind of cute. She laughs it off. I just think it was so cute. I just don't know who it was. And later on, I think it was like maybe when we wrapped, my sound guy, not my sound mixer, my boom operator was like, yeah, it was me. He's like, I found the Reese's Pieces. I thought it'd be funny. But I was too scared to tell her it was me. So he never told her.
Even the pranksters too scared.
They were just too scared.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
sometimes you just pull it off, and sometimes you
don't. But she was an absolute sweetheart. I mean, you always want to learn from people as well, and she was someone who was just so giving, but also doesn't take shit. You know, which is great, which I respect.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's very easy to just, once again, dial it in. Mm-hmm. And there was moments, even real early, like on the first week of shooting, where me and her, we would kind of get into, not spats, by far not spats, but different thoughts of a specific line or a specific performance. And, you know, and every actor acts different, performs differently. So you got to know how their process is. And we're going over a specific moment. And she goes, and I tell her, Dee, I need you to go from here to here. And when you say this line, and she goes, no. Just no.
Damn, she got boundaries.
Yeah, and I was like, I was kind of taken back. I was like, what?
Huh?
What, did you no?
I'm sorry, what was that?
And I'm like, I'm not going to tell Dee Wallace, you know, go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
You know, but, you know, I was just taken back.
America's mom.
This is America's mom. You know, I'm grateful that she's here. And she goes, no, my character wouldn't do that. And I was like, well, I wrote the character. What do you mean? You know, like that's what's going on in my mind. I'm like, but what do you mean? And she explains it to me. My motivation, you know, I'm dealing with my sick daughter. We just had a death. I'm emotionally, I'm at this level. There would be no reason why I would make a conscious decision to grab a prop and then move it from this point to this point.
Wow.
And that moment, I was like, "You're absolutely right."
No, she made her point.
No, and it wasn't even a matter of a point. She was right, and that's the thing. In directors in general, when someone's right, they're right, and you gotta. This can't be about egos.
I agree. It's not going to get done if it's about ego.
And it can't. And I wrote the fucking thing. I directed, I edited, I did everything. But if you're right, you're right. And when she said it, she made absolute sense. Why would a person in an emotional distressed moment think about, a mug or something, whatever it was, and about moving a point? And I told her, I was like, you're absolutely right. But as far as continuity is concerned, I do need that prop moved. And she was like, well, I could if I need to hit a mark, I'll hit a mark. I have no problem with that. But this is why I won't deliver it this way. And once I understood how she works, we got on a gangbusters.
So speaking of which, what's from beginning to end, what's the most challenging part of the film, and what's something you would change?
Wow. Okay, so challenging was dealing with being in a film of this kind of caliber, where there was a lot of firsts for a lot of people, and so we all had different levels of experience, and so going into it, I think it was a process of learning everyone's, personalities and learning how to deal with certain people and how not to deal with certain people. Because there was a lot of fun that was had on the set, but there was a lot of problems as well, and there was a lot of things that unfortunately did show up on the screen that I look back, and only me and certain people on the production know. We're like, oh, we know why that line was delivered like that, or we know we know why we're missing this and we don't have what we intended. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I would go back and like reshoot or just try to re-grab, and then time constraints and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I think there was a lot of pressure on this production. There was a lot of pressure from the actors, from producers to the team itself, our crew. There's a lot of pressure because we were kind of in this weird position where we were a low budget film. And we had like a low budget team, but we had high caliber talent. Everyone on that set came from something big. So you're looking at like, how are we all in the same room and this cost us X amount of dollars? How did this work out? What's our budget again?
The math doesn't add up.
The math doesn't add up. It just does. How does this happen? Science fiction. That's your cue. You shouldn't have missed it. But it's all, it's all 2020. It's all hindsight.
Right.
Thank God.
Speaking of which, how did the pandemic affect because you wrapped in 2019, right?
Yeah.
So how did the pandemic affect everything for you guys?
It still affected it. I mean, it's still affecting us.
Like you guys just got into the festival circuit and then everything closed down.
Yeah, we were in the festival. We were starting to get into the festival circuit. We got into some good ones, some good reputable ones. When we got into the Lovecraft Festival, I was like, yes, we're acknowledged.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah.
But then the pandemic hit, and it's now online, and it's not in person.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. But no, it put us back a lot to the point that's why the film doesn't have a domestic release.
Right.
Because it changed the landscape of distribution.
And you guys are still navigating that.
And we're still navigating it. We're still navigating it. Unfortunately, since I don't have a controlling say in the distribution, I really don't know where it's at this point.
Right.
But I know we don't have it. I know we don't have it. But
you know that much.
I know that much, and I know it's not because there's a lack of attention. Like people
not
want
at all.
this
No,
film.
this was trending in Vietnam. Like
Right,
that was a
it
thing.
was. We got a theatrical release. Like
yeah,
that
I remember
was,
I was talking about that, and you're
Yeah.
like, apparently my movie's like a thing.
Yeah, apparently it's a thing. And I found out through the internet because we don't exist in the flesh.
Exactly.
No, it was just the internet. I was just like looking up stuff with the movie, and I was like, wait a minute, I could buy tickets to see my movie.
That's cool.
In Vietnam, what is happening?
Is this real life?
I'm like, is this real? Like, what's happening? And then we started getting a fan base. Like, people started reaching out to us and stuff. And
oh, that's awesome.
I, reached out to some of my cast and reached out to me, and they were like, took photos at the actual premiere, like the
you're like, you want
I was like,
photos?
wow.
Like, what?
Like, people are taking photos, and they're like, yeah, like your movie and things. I'm like, wow, that's great. But the issue, with the pandemic, we knew it was going to come. Was we were having theatrical options. So some of the distributors were coming to us and offering theatrical, which any filmmaker would really want, obviously. And then COVID. And we're like, uh-oh. A lot of these theatrical options are going to fall off the table now.
no.
And that's a big bargaining chip. I mean, it's a huge bargaining chip when someone says, well, we could put it in a theater. You know, and not just like 2 theaters in NoHo.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we're it's gonna.
I'm in the theater, the drive-in.
You know, exactly, the drive-in
I'd
in
be
Cincinnati.
happy for that. Okay, I'd be happy for that.
I mean,
honestly,
I would,
me too.
Right.
I'm contemplating it still. But no, it was like it was a real release, and granted, it wasn't a huge release, but it was we were given offers, anywhere from 200 theaters to plus.
That's awesome.
Wow.
200 theaters is not a little number for an indie film.
And it isn't. And things were being negotiated, and for one reason or another, things would fall through. Sometimes some people might offer the theatrical deal, but the actual deal itself shit. You're not going to get anything from it. It's more of just the talking points to say I got a movie in theaters, and they know that. Distributors know that.
So we talked about this briefly while we weren't recording, but you've been having problems with people leaking this film, and I know you wanted to speak your piece on that. So if you want to just rant, and
don't
just
stop it. Stop bootlegging my fucking movie.
Well, the important thing too that we were talking about is a lot of times these aren't final cuts.
No.
So that's not fair to all these people who you heard the story just now. Everything that they went through is for nothing if you watch the unfinished version. Exactly. So
and it's what ends up happening with this bootlegging scenario, which is bound to happen. I mean, when any film's going to get bootlegged, it's a matter of beating them to the chase. And that was always the thing. I was like, we gotta beat them to the chase, man. Like, we gotta get it out before it ends up on the streaming sites. And then COVID fucked that all up.
All right.
But the thing is that when the film did get its international distribution deal, which is why it's in Vietnam and Switzerland and wherever the hell it's at, it's like in 60 countries or some shit. I don't even know how many countries there are, but 60 sounds like a good number.
All of them, but the U.S.
All of them, but where it was made. Yeah, the problem with that is that edit, I mean, that's months ahead. So even if the movie came out internationally in December, that deal would have been locked in maybe July, June. So we have several months where the edit could still change. Now, although the film is locked, we're still getting feedback. So we would still get feedback about the film, and we would say, damn, there's a lot of slow points in it. And that was one of my biggest issues, was because I also did the score. I didn't have the time I needed to do the score properly. Right. So a lot of the score that's in the version that's international is a lot of my temp music.
Oh, no.
So it's music I never finished. So there's moments in the cut that's available now internationally that there's like no music at points. There's talking points. There's moments, I believe. Even
that could be unsettling in its own.
It could. Maybe. I don't know. But I know on some of the feedback we got, the vital feedback was that it feels like it runs slow at certain points, and it was because there's a lot. I would figure the reason why for me was there's a lack of music, or a lack of action type music. Mm-hmm. So in the international cut, if you do see it, which is easier to see because it is legitimate, this is bootleg. If you're watching a bootleg, you're watching the international cut. You're not watching the real cut of the film. So if you watch a bootleg, there's going to be times where there's no music, or there's times where like Maggie's attacking someone and the music's kind of slow.
Right.
And when you guys watch the version that's in the festival market, which is damn near the perfect version, and there's music. There's a lot. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
Dun,
yeah.
It's
good
that's
music.
not in the international version. There's a lot of just dum 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 dum, like slow pace stuff. But it's all supposed to be temp. It's all supposed to be like, this is music that we could get like the idea, and we just got to a point that we were about to make an international deal. We have to lock the film. Are we okay where it's at? And it was like, I guess we're okay with where it's at. Maybe it'll work. It starts getting released. We really should chase certain things. And just even as simple as instead of going to a wide shot, it needs to be a close up instead. Even editorial little things. And so I was making those adjustments, and I got permission from the executive producers to make these adjustments. It never changed the timeline. The movie still runs the same. But I made those changes, and it's better for it. But what I did notice is the version that's bootlegged is approximately 9 minutes shorter.
Interesting.
And I can't find where. I can't find where. I can't. I watched the bootlegs, and I was like, where the hell did they cut like 9 minutes off of my film?
They fast forward all the credits.
That's what I thought. Maybe they have to have taken out the credits. They actually sped the film up.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And I don't know why. I don't know if that's a bootleg thing. I don't know.
I think it's a bootleg thing. Because it's harder to find with the timing. Yeah,
you're right, because the algorithm is looking for specific tones.
I've seen that before on like YouTube.
That's what they did on
they speed it up.
They
speed it up, and that's so the movie sped up. And I watched it, and I'm like, the theme song, for instance, which I'm very familiar with because it took me the longest to write. In the credits, I'm like, it sounds faster than I performed it. And I'm listening like, oh shit, they sped up the film. And
so
I laid
it was
it
the
side by side.
music. That's so funny. That's the music that teed you off to that. It wasn't
that's
even...
what gave it away.
Oh, cool.
Once I heard the music, it sped up, then I put it on a timeline and I watched it. And just within the first 5 minutes, one was way ahead than the other one. I was like, oh, they sped it up.
You know, it's funny. I didn't actually mention this, but in my notes, when you go through it, like at the beginning, I wrote a little note that said, opening credits, rad. That matters. It really does.
It does. And I like cool opening credits.
Me too. Me too. And it doesn't take a lot to make a cool opening credit, you know? But it's like you see the people who phone it in, and it's like, it doesn't really
it's a
give
black
me a lot of,
screen.
it doesn't give me a lot of confidence for your movie,
it doesn't.
You know?
It doesn't. That's why I hate my second film. My second film is just like one little graphic and credits going. But every film I've ever done since, other than my second one, always had something happening in those opening credits. Life experience.
We got themes today.
Absolutely.
Right?
Life experience.
So the last question I had for you, we've kind of answered. It's probably a little open-ended, and that's when and where our audience can view your film. But I guess that's TBD right now.
It's TBD. Technically, they could find it anywhere on the fucking internet.
Don't watch that. You know what? You can watch it in Vietnam.
If you're in Vietnam, knock yourself out. But also, like I said, even the international version is not the final version because it's different music. There's different music, different cuts, so no one has really seen it.
So you're gonna have to
come to the U.S. to watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna have to follow Pablo then, I guess, online, and you're gonna have to keep it. And we'll keep updates too. If you let us know, we'll let the fans know. We'll post about it. Mm-hmm. All right. So there you have it. Await the Dawn, a new must-see horror survival currently making waves on the film festival circuit. Be sure to check it out. It's definitely not one to miss. Now, don't forget to follow Pablo online. That's at MachosDP_ on Instagram, right? Pablo Macho Maysonet IV on Facebook. And are you on Twitter?
Yeah, no. I'm on Twitter, but I'm not active.
That's like me. Okay, so then, follow him on the other two.
Where it matters.
Yeah, exactly. Where it matters. Where it matters.
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook are fine.
So, Pablo, any last words? And did you have anything you want to plug? Any upcoming projects?
Yeah, I have upcoming projects, but I can't really plug them because I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. But I just finished an anthology.
Oh, okay.
So that's gonna be fun. We did. I once again don't know if I'm allowed to say the title, but I shot the main wraparound, and it's supposed to be like a trick or treating type vibe with kids trick or treating.
Oh, hell yeah. Love it.
Going talking to like a scary old witch person. Is she a witch? Isn't she a witch? Type of thing. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing.
Could be a witch, could be a cat lady.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks again for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
This was a ton of fun.
Yeah,
this was
absolutely.
fun.
Like, I kind of want to keep talking.
We will.
Fusion, you're stuck here.
No. Well, that about covers it for the interview and discussion. Was there anything that you two wanted to mention before we cut to a sponsor break?
I think you answered all of my questions. I go back to the bootleg, though. You know, when I was younger, please, you don't understand how important it is to pay for things because
really
you will not have creatives creating, and I take it back to like Metallica and Napster.
Yep.
Back in high school, everyone was mad about it because, I can't get free music. Well, guess what? You were taking food from their table. Like, they wouldn't be able to keep creating had this, and it would not have made...
Well, Metallica would have been fine.
Metallica would have been fine, but other musicians, people...
No, it's more about the people like us and like Macho who are trying to make a name for themselves. Right. And if you take that away from us, then you're not going to have the future of film. You're not going to have the next generation. Yeah. You're not going to have awesome movies anymore. You're just going to have stupid fucking Marvel movies. So have fun with that.
Real talk. Exactly. You're going to have Hollywood-produced crap that they just feed you because they think you want it.
Exactly.
Like the Bill and Ted reboot.
Let's not end on a bad note.
Well, I'm just trying to drive that point through. Like, stop bootlegging.
You heard it. Stop it. All right.
No more pirates.
No more. Let's cut to.
And I love pirates. He's laughing because he knows. It's my retirement goal to become a swamp pirate.
That's goals.
Yes.
All right. Let's cut to a quick sponsor break, and we'll be right back.
there, it's Dan the Bago Man here from Dan's RV Sales Lot. And you know me for one of two things, great deals on top-of-the-line RVs and a little-known pact with Satan. That's right, with Dan the Bago Man, you can make a deal with the devil inside me. These deals are so good, I sure as hell didn't give them to you. I mean, we're practically giving RVs away. Like this one. It's got auto drive, seat warmers, even some accoutrement. Accoutrement? What the hell is that? All for a low, low price of
$10,000.
Oh, Satan, that's a little too low, don't you think?
Fuck you! $5,000.
Yeah, but...
Weekend sale.
As you can see, folks, I have no control over here, so please go...
No money down.
Seriously, folks, I need help. I can't take this anymore. Somebody call an exorcist. It hurts.
Bow down, for I am Beezle Bago, the demon god of low-price recreational vehicles. Come now, puny human, to my sales lot while supplies last. Located just off Highway 666 in hell. And by hell, I mean Arizona.
Bloodthirsty? Hungry for flesh? Come on down to Van Helsing Steakhouse, home of the world-famous all-you-can-steak buffet, where there's steak for everybody. Here's a pine steak for you, mahogany for you. This one's dipped in garlic butter. Oh! Refresh your water? Only the holiest of waters at Van Helsing Steakhouse. So come on down to Van Helsing Steakhouse.
Hi, is this the steakhouse?
Where you're not welcome.
All right, welcome back, Splatter fans. Now, this is normally where Jen would do our fun facts segment, digging up the dirt. Yeah,
Did you say my name?
I did.
I wasn't paying attention.
So cue that theme song. Here we go.
You don't trust me.
No, because this was an interview, which means the whole thing is a fun fact segment. So deal with it, okay?
No fun facts for you.
But our listeners demand fun facts.
They got
the whole episode.
The whole episode is fun facts.
So again, deal with it.
There's gonna be some little kid in Wyoming crying. There's no
Oh my god.
Well, he's special.
Jesus, our one fan, Jen.
I said he was special.
Listen,
he is our one fan.
Brett, if you're listening. Okay. So I guess that means it's time for plugs. So what do you guys got to plug this week besides your buttholes? Besides your buttholes, okay? Jesus, every week with this fucking joke.
For those of you who may be interested, I've branched into tarot reading. I've done it my whole life, but now I'm offering my services to any who are interested, so you can slide into my DMs and ask me about it.
Hey.
Or if you just need me for any of my other services, because apparently I do a lot of shit. Like comic book coloring and drawing and prints and commissions.
If you just need someone to talk to.
Yeah, listen,
you know?
I'm here for you.
She really is.
I am. I'm also here to antagonize Fusion. So, you know.
That's our favorite part of the job.
It is.
I don't really have anything to plug this week. I ain't doing shit but my other job, which is a lot less I don't want to talk about that. So
who does? Let's talk about this. Can't be as mundane as Fusion's job.
It's definitely not. It's just a lot of writing.
By the way, where's my scorpion mask?
It's on the way. And how is my job mundane?
I'm just joking. I don't care.
Don't give a shit.
Wow.
Do not give a shit. Fusion, what's happening? Don't we have a sidewalk sale coming up?
We got sidewalk. God damn this.
This is going to be the whole fucking episode. We're going to have to put a goddamn disclaimer up. Sorry, we keep hitting shit. What the fuck? Oh, it's a shit show.
I mean, yeah, we got Sidewalk Sale July 3rd. We got live streamed with Jen and me.
And I'll be there.
At the
Sidewalk Sale.
I was like, you just said your name. I'm pretty sure.
I won't be
Oh
there.
my God.
I'll be at the other thing.
She'll be at everything.
That's true.
We like to have fun.
Because we act like a couple, apparently.
Everyone thinks we're dating. And if they're not thinking I'm dating you, they think I date Jer.
Right.
You slut.
I know, right? Slinging this dick.
Slinging
They
this
like
dick.
it in the butt.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
All right, guys. Let's wrap this up. We watched the movie. Now I gotta know, as always, what's the moral of the story?
Not today.
Not today, baby.
Not today.
Fucking life experience.
Yeah.
Kids are still evil.
Kids are still evil. I'm gonna say it's better to let sleeping dogs lie, and by that I mean it's better to let your dead loved ones stay dead. Seriously, knock that shit off.
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery.
I know, right?
Ouija boards, too.
How many fucking times? All right, so next week, our next episode will be announced on the Instagram page at Splatter Garage. So, you have to follow us.
That's right. You
So
guys.
follow and be amazed, okay?
Right.
Or you could just fucking sit around and wait for it. Either way, whatever you prefer.
Right?
I don't give a shit. You do you, boo. Also, don't forget to rate, subscribe, review us, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us. We're everywhere. We're right behind you, okay? Yes.
We're in your shower.
Your shower. We're in your fucking brain. Check out our sponsor, Endgame Comics and Collectibles in Ventura. Ask for Fusion. He loves to be bugged. Don't you? Don't you?
Ask him about his ex.
No comment. New comment. All right.
Don't do that. Just don't do that.
Ask him.
No.
Devil card. That about wraps it up. So until next time, Fusion, cue that theme.
Okay, digging up the dirt. Right.
I'm going to punch him.
No, I do. You probably think it was me out there digging up the dirt.